Revenge is a dish best served angsty. Hello and welcome to Rotted Review of the Day, and today I am taking a look at the 2018 movie from Japan, Liverleaf. This is a film that I found to have a beautiful, sad storyline, and then it was coupled with a gleeful gore fest, and although those two independently were quite something, when they put them together, I really found this to be a bit of a misstep of a film that just didn't work for me. But to get into more details than that, let's get into the categories. As always, 4 different categories, each one worth up to 25 points for a total possible score of 100 points. And the plot of this one, I gave a 10 out of 25. This followed the character of Haruka, that she is a somewhat new student in this very, very small rural town in Japan. And being a small town, it has that very tight-knit clique quality to it. So she goes to the middle school there, and you get the sense that she is being bullied pretty darn badly by the group of kids of a class of pretty much 20 kids. So really there's not a whole lot of respite for her from the bullying, and when her parents try to get involved, the school is of no help. They're about to close, and graduation's in 2 months, and they're basically just wanting to ride things out as is. So there's really no safety for her, and her parents try to pull her from class, and things start taking some pretty brutal turns when her classmates are no longer in a position to torment her with daily rib poking and so forth. Then it ups the game, and then it turns into some back and forth murderous storyline going on. And there's a lot of really good points to this movie that are really duking it out against some pretty bad points. So this is not a situation where because of a week, whatever, that it wound up only getting 10. This is really, it would have gotten so much higher, but then it got lower, and I really had to find some equilibrium between what I liked about this movie, and there was plenty, and what I disliked about it, to ultimately come to the 10 out of 25 points there. And one of the big problems that I had with this movie was the 0 to 120 miles per hour that normal people went to between normal everyday aggression and murderous rampage. It really seemed like the switch was flipped for everybody, and that really was tough to take. This movie had a really strong buildup of sympathetic characters, well fleshed out characters that I really kind of rallied behind. And yes, some of them, especially the bullies, were a bit caricatured, but even so, I enjoyed the interaction between them. It was brutal without being bloody or murderous, and when that switch got flipped, it got flipped for everybody. Parents, teachers, it was just really bizarre how you had this buildup of characters in this really sadly sweet storyline that it really took some time to foster and give some attention and care to, and then turned it into a gory revenge film for everybody. And that would be the thing, is I would think this would have a lot more impact if one character, namely, I would think Haruka would be the person that got the switch flipped in their brain, and then it turned into a revenge gore movie. Fine, okay, that makes perfect sense. I mean, that is still, it's a leap, but it's a horror movie. What do you want? It's a leap. You want an excuse to have some gore on the screen, to go down a route of macabre that is ordinarily untouched by other film genres. Fine. But that makes at least some logical storyline character sense. The one person had too much, and the switch flipped, and now they're off and running. But the fact that so many other people were treating the idea of murder as this nonchalant thing. Oh, well, without any shred of evidence, we think that she's out to get us. So, let's time to take up arms and time to murder, whoever that is on our path. And likewise, when the bullying got taken to the nth degree, whether it was an accident or not. I'm not going to reveal any spoilers here, but it certainly got taken beyond that level of just accident and into malicious, and that seemed really weird for me. It was just a really strange duality that was going on within the movie it was two great tastes that don't taste great together. And the other issue that I had with it really, when you take all the other flaws of it and you couple it with this teenage angsty, very clearly, kind of a notice me senpai feel. And the one takeaway that I really couldn't escape was that I was watching the twilight of revenge gore movies. I'm not entirely on board with that idea. So, all told, taking all the good and the bad and weighing them against each other, I gave it the plot of 10 out of 25. And the intent, I also gave a 10 out of 25. This had some really beautiful visuals and excellent, like I said earlier, excellent introduction to rich, vibrant characters. It just really took them in the wrong direction entirely, and I really had trouble getting past that. It took me out of the movie, and whatever it was intending to be, with the impact of the murderous rampage and the gore and so forth, it really didn't for me. At that point, I was taken out of the movie and I was just watching some gore sequences. The acting I gave a 17 out of 25. Great performances all told. A bit over the top. Like I said, the bullying, especially at the beginning, was a bit caricature-esque. But this ultimately was an over-the-top movie. So in contrast, it actually seemed a bit subdued. But regardless, I thought that everybody actually performed fairly admirably well, and one of the acting was not an issue that I took with this movie. The technical, I gave an 18 out of 25. There was a lot of really great blood and gore, and I really appreciated that from a technical standpoint. As well as, like I said earlier, this is just a beautiful movie overall. The camera work and the color and the sound design, it all worked really well together, and the technical achievement of this one, I really can't deny. The only real technical issue that I took with this one was there was a point, well, a few points within this. It was the same sin, but just occurred over multiple times, where an act of violence was taking place, somebody being beaten or stabbed or something, where it was a fluid motion, but they sped the camera up, and the only thing I could really think at that point was how hilarious this was on a Benny Hill level. That is an element that takes you out of the gruesome terror that is happening on the screen when you can't help but think how funny it is what you're watching there. So, and you just expect yakety sax to start playing. It's a distraction. So, a detraction and a distraction. So, ultimately, what we wound up with was a movie that got 55 out of 100 points. And I will say, I am not against mindless violence. I review horror movies for this channel. Mindless violence is the name of the game for a lot of these, and it's not a point against it. However, I really can't get past the taking exception to mindless violence within a film that set it up with mindful characters and then sets them all loose inexplicably on terribly unrealistic murder sprees. It just seemed weird to me. So would I recommend this movie? I would say ordinarily not. I would really only recommend it if you know what to expect. Don't let yourself get lulled by the beautiful scenery and the beautiful characters and the paced start, and just brace yourself for over-the-top gore. When it does happen, you will be pleasantly surprised by it. So that would be the basis of my recommendation if I were to have one. That is my review of 2018's Liverleaf. I really thank you for joining me here today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.